You all for joining. I'm excited to see you all here today. So this here is an ongoing series on the commercialization process with Josiah, the CEO and the co-founder for iSpace. And so for the past weeks, we've been going through specific topics. I think for the first week, we had him talk about innovation and disclosure. In the second week, we had him also talk about evaluation and protection. Today's session is going to be on marketing and partnership. So for the previous calls, it will be uploaded on YouTube. So you can actually look for iSpace on YouTube. You'll find a playlist of the previous calls that we've had. We'll just wait for a few minutes while the others join, and then we'll continue. Once again, thank you for joining. So whilst we wait, I'll be glad if we can introduce ourselves in the chat box where you are joining this call from, what you do, and how you got this link. How either it was from Facebook, email, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can kindly put that information in the chat box for me. So let's quickly do that introduction. My name is Shanessa, and I am the technical research assistant for iSpace. And so let's put our introduction in the chat box whilst we wait for a few of our people to join. So if you're just joining, we are introducing ourselves in the chat box. You can put in where you are joining this call from and then how you got this link. I want to know how you got this link to join this call. Maybe it was from LinkedIn, it was from Instagram, Facebook, via email. Kindly put that there, your name, and then what you do. Yeah, so Rose is joining from Ghana, and then she had a link through email. Thank you, Rose, for joining. Nice meeting you. We have Frederick Sogwe, the founder for Zine Organic Cosmetics, also in here. Thank you, Frederick, for joining. David Dankwa Yeboah, thank you for joining. Rashid, thank you for joining. Adija, thank you for joining. All right. If you are just joining, kindly put your name, where you are joining from, and what you do, and how you had this link to join this call in the chat box. So Josiah, if you're ready, you can go ahead. Hi, Josiah. All right. So for the purpose of those joining in just now, this is an ongoing series on the commercialization process with Josiah, the CEO and the co-founder for iSpace. And so this has been going on for the past 2 weeks now. And I think for the first week, we had him talk about innovation and disclosure. On the second week, we had him talk about evaluation and protection. This week, today's session is going to be on marketing and partnership. And so we'll have these sessions uploaded on our YouTube. And so you can just type iSpace Foundation, and then you will have a playlist of all the calls that we've been having previously there. So you have every one of them uploaded on YouTube. So you can have information on that. Prior to the commercialization process, we had um, a series. So the first one we had was on intellectual property. And then we had another on utilizing R&I tools. We had another two on the commercialization process, and that was just brief. And so this is why Josiah is going into it in this series. And then we had another one too on fundraising or commercialization with Jesse. And so all these information is on our YouTube. You just need to type iSpace Foundation, and then you'll find a playlist of those calls. It's about 6 on there. Yes. So if you're just joining, kindly put in your name and where you are joining us from and what you do in the chat box. And kindly indicate how you had the link to join this call. Hi, Asan. Thank you for joining. So you can feel free to take notes while the session goes on. And then if there are any questions that you have, you can put it in the chat box as the session goes on, or you can decide to wait when we are done with the call, then you can ask during the Q&A session.
Okay, Shinesa, I'm ready
Yes,
now.
Josiah. All right, all right. Please, you can go ahead.
So good afternoon, everyone. And again, thank you for participating in this series of sessions that we have on commercialization. And again, those of you that are working on your products at the moment, either you're getting information beforehand, or you are at the moment thinking about commercializing whatever projects and stuff that you're working on. And today, we are going to focus on two things, marketing and then partnership. But look at marketing as a whole thing, as opposed to just a branch of something. So partnership is inside the marketing, but we explained to you why we removed it and made it stand on its own. But marketing process in commercialization is one of the important steps that you have to take. But as we go along, you understand why. So what I will do is, again, the slides will be shared. So if you've not received the slides in the previous sessions, kindly reach out so that that will be shared with you. And then the same way with this one as well. I'm happy to do an after session on some of the topics with you as well. If you're interested, let my team know, and then we'll do that. So we will go straight into it. And like I said today, we're looking at marketing and partnership in the whole commercialization thing. So when you think about marketing, marketing is simply strategic steps and activities that an organization undertakes to promote and to sell product or services to a target market, right? So this would encompass so many different things when you look at, market research, planning to the product launch itself, and then obviously everything that exists after that. Marketing does not end when the product is launched, right? Marketing actually begins after the product is launched. So it's something that is an ongoing process. It's not something that just stops whilst you launch your product or service. So let me repeat. Marketing are a series of strategic steps and activities an organization undertakes to promote and to sell their product or services to the target market. So that's what marketing would be, is strategic steps and activities that you would take as an organization. So it's not something that you just do anyhow. It's strategic steps that you take. So what are some of the strategic steps and how you can encompass all of those things, right? Now, market research, before you do that, you have to do market research. So everything will begin with market research. So you have to look at the behaviors, the competitive landscape, the market trends, so all of these things, the customer segments that you aim to target, you look at all of that when you do your market research, right? So SWOT analysis, environmental, political, all of those things you have to look at. Then you look at the product positioning and the branding itself, right? You need to establish a clear product positioning and branding strategy that then defines how your product will be, what's perceived in the market. That's something that you have to think about. So when we talk about the product positioning, in essence, we're looking at your unique selling proposition, right? What are you then going to say to people your product is? Then you have to think about your marketing campaigning plan itself. It's a campaign. And let me hit on the word here, campaign. So that's an ongoing thing. It's not something you just do just like that and then forget about it. So you need to have a campaign plan itself, right? So that will look at so many different things. Again, your positioning statement, you have to talk about it. If you're thinking about your campaign itself, what you're going to do, you have to design your objectives, right? You have to think about your brand awareness. You have to think about the campaign that is going to lead to sales, campaign that is just purely for promotional purposes, but then also campaign that is going to boost your sales. All of these things are things that you have to think about. And then inside of that, your messaging channels that you're going to use, your budget timelines, how you're going to measure success, how effective the campaign is going to be will all depend on how well you plan. But again, that's what you have to think about when you're thinking about your marketing campaigning. It's not just, this is what I'm going to do. Why are you doing this? When are you going to do this? Where are you going to do it? What are you going to do? So many things that you need to then think about, particularly in your campaign, right? So to do all of these things, strategy matters, right? Strategy, do not confuse strategy and tactical things as the same. They're two completely different things. Strategy is the higher overview of what you need to do, whereas tactical is the things that you actually do. So strategy actually matters. And we're going to focus on 3 key strategies when it comes to the marketing aspect of this particular commercialization project that you want to do. Now, one, marketing strategy development, right? So develop a comprehensive marketing strategy that will outline your key objectives, marketing channels, messaging, and then tactics that you're going to be, use. This will include pricing, distribution, promotional strategies, right? So now you realize that pricing, distribution, and all of that are part of your marketing strategies that you're going to have. Now, when you remove one of the points of the marketing strategy becomes pricing strategy itself. With the pricing strategy, you set a pricing strategy that aligns with your product's positioning and then the market conditions, right? Consider factors like your production cost, your perceived value, and then competitive pricing. Now, let me repeat that. So your marketing strategy should align with the product's positioning and the market conditions. Why is this important? So imagine you want to be a luxury product, but then you're selling at a very, very mass market pricing. You are doing yourself no favors. You're going to lose money, right? And the market condition may be tough at this moment in time, but then you're selling a product at the very high end, but then the people that you're targeting cannot afford it. Because then you ask the question, the market is tough right now, but why are people still buying iPhones? Because the people that iPhone targets are not your average people, right? Some people have it because somebody bought it for them. That's a different conversation. But the point is, Apple phone is the pricing strategy for Apple phone is strategic according to the product positioning itself and then the market conditions that they find themselves in. Then you think about your distribution strategy. Distribution strategy it helps you to determine the channels through which your product will reach its customers, right? Because those channels are going to be the vehicle that you're going to use to then reach the end user, which is the customer. So this may involve direct sales, retailers, e-commerce, partnership with distributors, so many different things that you have to look at, right? Because distribution is very important. This is where we talk about, when you talk about your marketing mix, when you look at things like product, you look like price, you look at place, and then promotion. Place is distribution here, right? Because outline the distribution channels and logistics for getting the product to your customers. So in this case, distribution becomes your place. So what is your place strategy? What is your distribution strategy that you're going to use? Now, there's so many different ways about it. So we're going to take these three things one by one, right? We're going to just literally take them out one by one and then go into it in detail on what these strategies can potentially be, right? So we're going to start with the marketing strategy canvas itself. Now, these are 14 blocks. Yes, you heard right, 14 blocks. Now, these 14 blocks all exist under one umbrella that becomes your, what do you call it, the canvas that you're going to use. Sorry, can you hear me? I can hear somebody. You trying to say something?
Yeah.
Moderator, is it possible to tell the person that is mic, the hot mic, to mute if possible, please?
Yes, please, I've muted him.
Okay, thank you. So we're looking at product. One of the first things that you need to do is just look at your product, right? Now, what is your product? What is it? What are you trying to achieve? What are you creating? What are you putting on the market? What is it? We want to know, right? Ultimately, you're using this to describe your product. Describe your product to its finest detail so that you know exactly. Do not go and say it's something like, we need to know this exactly what it is. If it's coffee, what type of coffee are you trying to put on the market? If it's coffee with lime or whatever, it has to be coffee with lime. You can't say flavored coffee because flavored coffee doesn't mean anything to anybody. So it has to be specific. And then if it's different products, they also have to have their own different strategies to it. So every single product that you have has to have its own strategy canvas in itself, isolate every single thing. They are not all the same because lime coffee is entirely different from pineapple coffee. They are two different products. The only thing that they share is the fact that they have what they call a coffee, and that's it. but then ultimately they're different products. So what is the product? Define it clearly for us to see what and know what it is. Then you look at your positioning. Where do you want to be in the market, right? What do you want the people to think about when they think about your product? Are they looking at you like a luxury product? Are they looking at you like a mass market product? Are you a niche-based product? Where is your positioning? Where are you going to sit in the market? Then you also need to look at that against your competitor, right? Where do they sit and where do you sit next to your competitor in that sense? So you have to have this in mind. Always have this in mind when it comes to positioning. Then we talk about, is it me or we in the bush? I think somebody's mic is picking up sounds from birds, even though I like birds. But if you can mute your mic for other people's sake, thank you. Then you look at your messaging, right? So what messaging are you trying to convey with this particular product? What is the message? Are you trying to tell people that, well, this product will send you to heaven if you use it, it's the best product in town? What message are you trying to send out to the people? What message are you conveying to the people, right? Then we move on to communication, the channels. So look at communication as channels. What channels are you going to use to communicate your message, your positioning, your product to the market that you've targeted? Is it going to be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever? If you're going to use radio, online, offline, TV, whatever, we need to know your communication channel. How are you going to communicate with these people? Then naturally you look at segment. Segment here being your customers that you're aiming at. Sometimes you have more than one customer segment. Break it down. Who are they? Why are they? Where are they? What do they do? All of those things are things that you need to definitely break down for you to understand what your segment is. Now, if you've done the BMC already, this is supposed to be easy because you can just lift that information from your business model canvas and then dump it into your strategy canvas here, because it will literally be the same type of people. Now, differentiator. What makes your product different from whatever it is on the market at the moment, right? What features do you have that makes it different from what is on the market at the moment? You have to state those things. You have to be very clear, concise in stating what sets you apart from everybody else. Whatever single product is on the market, what makes you different, right? Then competitors. It's very important to take your competitors very seriously. Take them seriously. And if you don't take them seriously, it becomes a problem in itself. So when you're looking at your strategy, list your competitors. Why are they your competitors, right? What even makes them the competitors? What product do they have that goes against your product that then makes them competitors? Do not put somebody there just because it's a cute thing to do. No, you have to justify why they're your competitors. Do they have product that is similar to yours? Their features, is it superior to yours or similar? Or, you know, whatever the case may be, you have to justify why these people are your competitors, right? How much money they have, their staff, their marketing strategies, their budgets, everything. You have to know who those competitors are. Then we move on to branding. Branding is very, very, very important, right? Because it goes hand in hand with positioning. Where you position yourself should ideally determine the kind of brand or branding, packaging, and everything else, the messaging that you have for your product. So, typical example, when you look at Apple, the iPhone, it brands itself in the higher end, stylish, and everything else. So you see how they do their packaging, their finishing, and everything else speaks to the position in which they want to see themselves or want to be perceived to be, right? They don't try to be, lower, because they say they are the stylish end. So their design and everything is very, very stylish in that sense. So your branding is very, very important. Now, pricing. Pricing is important in any strategy because, why is that important? Because you're going to sell the thing to a particular end user, right? What strategies are you going to use? You will find that there are 15 pricing strategies, right? And if we should name all of them, we'll be here all day, right? But I will talk about pricing strategy in the following slides that will be coming soon. Now, so you will know whether it's a penetration strategy you're going to use. You're going to use skimming. What kind of strategy are you going to use in order for you to market your product and put it onto them, for people to have it in the market, so to speak. Then distribution. Distribution is very, very important. You have to be mindful, because that is the only way you are able to get your product onto the market. So the channels here that you're going to use, right? The mechanisms. Shanessa, you can still hear me, correct?
Well, we lost you for a moment, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So the distribution being the avenues that you're going to use to ensure that you get your product or your service to the market, so that people will be able to then get what it is. So with that, we will talk about it more in the partnership side as well, right? Then consumer behavior. Your consumer behavior is something that you have to study, and that goes with your market research. What is your consumers? What are they like? How do they behave? Are they seasonal people? Are they one of those trendy type people? They only buy us and when? Who are they buying from? Where are they buying from? All of these things are things that you need to be mindful of. Then obviously your objectives as a marketing department, what are you trying to achieve, right? What is the end goal for you? And then what is continual after that is something that you need to then be mindful of and then make a note of. Then metrics. Metrics here will be things that you're going to measure, right? Sales, likes on social media, how many videos you put out, how many people you employed, how many people call you, what is your production rate? All of those things are things that you're going to measure. Why are these things important? Because it then enables you to see where you are and then know whether you're being successful at what it is that you want to achieve. Then budget. Budget here is pretty much what everything sits on. But don't do your budget as a one figure and then stop there. So let's say if you put $1 million, right? We need to break down $1 million into so many different spaces. $1 million that goes to where? Your your branding, and 200,000 will go to, let's say, branding side. Another 100,000 will go into creating videos. Another 100,000 will go into doing market research to know who your competitors and your segments are. So business analysis, all of those things, budget has to be accounted for. So you can't just say, I have 1 million and then that's it. No, you have 1 million, but for what? Break it down into those spaces. What you're going to use for competitors to do research. What are you going to use for branding? What are you going to use to then communicate your message to the rest of the world, how different you are? So it's very, very important to have budgets, but break them down. And after you do that, we then look at your distribution channels, right? Now, distribution channels are some of the most important things in marketing. Each marketing strategy is based on key elements that then will make it, what will classically will make it work. So like we talked about your product, your position, your promotion, your price, and your placement, right? All of these things will not happen if you don't think about distribution, right? So distribution is very, very important. It's one of those things that you definitely have to look out for. So your distribution channels exist in 3 ways: indirect, direct, and selective, right? So your indirect would then be traditional, direct, and then the reseller strategy. So what does that mean when we talked about these things that we're looking at? So an indirect distribution, right? In this case, is where companies get their product or service to consumers through other people, right? So you're using other I would say channels for you to then get your product or service to the market. So third-party entries is what you're using. So you're using third-party entities to get your product onto the market. And usually this works, for example, being App Store or Google Play Store. You got the app from a particular client. So let's say you wanted to download an app from a bank, Standard Chartered Bank, for example. They placed it on the App Store so that you can go there and get it. So that's directly distributing your product to you because you're getting it through a third party. So you have to then start thinking that, hold on, if I have a product and I need to get it to the customer, what other distribution channels that I can use? And What we have here is indirect is one of the ways in which you can use to do that. Even the likes of Coca-Cola, Red Bull, and all of those people, they do it. How do they do it? They get their product to stores, and in the store, you go to the store and purchase it from the store. You don't walk directly to Coca-Cola and buy it, right? Wholesalers might do that, but retailers don't do that. Distributors will do that, but you as a single buyer will not do that. So in this case, they're using indirect distribution to get their product onto the store, and then you go and buy from there, right? So you have to then look at it in those ways. So then again, from the indirect, when you look at things like the digital part of indirect marketing, is advertising is one of the most popular forms of indirect marketing, right? It's indirect because you are renting a space on somebody else's website, social media that does not belong to you. So you would then go and advertise on somebody else's social media page, and then advertise the thing directly to their clients. See, so you place your ad on somebody else's platform, and then people access your product from there, right? So the reseller strategy will literally be, third-party, external middle people buying things and then selling it. Or you look at software development companies, they tend to do a lot of their reseller strategies. So you might get somebody that is selling you Google Cloud and all of those cloud services. Or what they've done is just purchase it from Google and then sell it to you. So Google is using a reseller as part of their strategies to get their products to you, right? Now we have the direct. The direct is commonly used in industries, right, such as e-commerce, software, digital content, and all of these other things. So you download the video. So Netflix, for example, when you download the video, that's directly coming to you, right? You don't have to go to a third party for that to happen. So direct distribution is literally the manufacturer and the consumer, and then the platform that sits in between them for them to be able to do that, right? It helps with your customer relations, direct, direct distribution, again, in customer relation is you've devised a mechanism that customers will be able to access your product so easily, right? So you have to think about this. It's very cost effective because you're not paying a third party to do anything for you. You're doing it directly to the customer. So it's not like now, if somebody downloads your product, you have to pay X amount of percentage to the person. Now you're doing it directly. So there's a direct element of distribution here. Then you will look at selective distribution. Now, selective distribution here, again, this strategy is often used by companies that want to maintain a level of control over their image, ensure high quality service, and then target specific customers and customer segments effectively, right? So what you're doing here is you're using a set number of, middle people. You're not everybody will be, getting your products into the market, so you're not distributing it for you. You're working with a select amount of people. Now, you will see that Ace of Space and all these high-end champagne companies do it very well, right? They give their brand to a specific retailer, not everybody. Now, this helps you with brand control. So that means it's in association with. So if you're selling luxury product, you give your product to a distributor who is also on par with you based on the customers that you're targeting. So that means that your product will not be found any and everywhere, right? So it helps you to control your brand in that sense. And then you can also do in selective distribution, you can do something called product knowledge and training, right? Where companies that employ selective distribution often provide training and support to their chosen middle organizations, right? This training can include product knowledge, customer service, customer service standards, merchandising guidelines, and all of these things on how to represent their brand in a very good way. From a geographical point of view, select distribution can be focused on countries that choose specific regions, right? See, so you even do it. Sometimes if you try to get content online, it tells you that because of the country that you're in, you can't access that particular content. That is selective distribution. They've taken your region out and then make sure that you cannot access their content, right? So these are kind of things that you have to think about when you want to look at your distribution channel, right? Does it have to be indirect? Does it have to be direct? Does it have to be selective? It's things that you have to then think about. So, Shanessa, are you with me so far?
Hi, Josiah. I'm with you.
Okay. Good. So we are on to the pricing strategy itself, right? And remember, I said there are 15 types of pricing strategy. 15. That's a lot of strategies to have as a company to do anything, right? 15. This is the reason why I keep telling people that you cannot use price as your unique selling point or your value proposition, because it's just too many, right? It's just too many. This involves determining the optimal price at which to sell your product or service to achieve your business objectives, right? So in order for you to do that, you need to consider cost, competition, customer perception, the market conditions. All of these things affect your price. So, things like an example of pricing strategies here will be cost-cutting pricing. This strategy involves setting a price based on your cost of production or delivering the product or service plus a desired profit that you want to have on it, right? See, so that in itself is different. Then you look at your competitive pricing, which involves setting your price in alignment with your competitor or slightly below or above them. So Samsung and iPhone does that very well. When you look at how much Samsung is sold for and how much iPhone is sold for, the prices are not really that great. They're either slightly above or just below, right? So they're using that competitive strategy in case of pricing. Then you have your value-based pricing, which focuses on the perception of the value that the product or the service would have on the consumer, right? So then you do it in a way where companies determine what customers are willing to pay based on the benefits and the values that they receive, right? This is why somebody will go and pay 20 cities for trainers, normal Nike trainers, but then will pay, $400-500 for a Yeezy trainer, right? Now they perceive the value from it because it makes them feel cool, it makes them feel great, or whatever the case may be. There's a value to that, hence why they're paying for all of those things. So like I said, we can't talk about all the 15 pricing strategies. If you want to know what they are, reach out and then I will kind of work with you and then look at your positioning and then determine what pricing strategy you should have. So there's 15, but I only talked about 3 for the purpose of the lecture that we're having today. So when choosing a pricing strategy, businesses should consider all of these other things, like I said before, your cost structure, your target market, your competitive landscape, the brand positioning itself, and then your overall business goals. What are your overall business goals, right? And then that will help you determine what strategies to go for. So far, we've dealt with the marketing side of things. So we looked at the marketing strategy canvas, then we looked at the distribution side of things, and then we looked at the pricing side of things. These 3 things are not the silver bullets to your success. They are part of the remedy to being successful. So when you do all of these things, you're on the right path to do anything. Now, all of these things mean nothing if you do not have partners, right? If you don't form partnerships in the market, even with your competitors, even among enemies, there has to be some sort of partnership. So what does that look like? We're talking about partnership. Partnership process in the commercialization process involve establishing a strategic alliances and collaboration with other businesses, organizations, or individuals to leverage resources, expertise, and opportunities for mutual benefit, right? Let me repeat that again. Partnership in this commercialization process involves establishing a strategic alliance, collaboration with other businesses, other organizations, other individuals, in order for you to do what? Leverage on resources, expertise, and opportunities for a mutual benefit, right? So the key word here is mutual benefit. That's what partnership does. Partnership is supposed to give you mutual benefit. Okay, it's not one-sided. So we're going to look at some of the type of ways in which you can then gain your partnerships, right? Again, this might be a little bit smaller on your screen, but then once we share the deck, you'll be able to get it, right? So looking at this, you're looking at your strategic alliances. These are partnerships between two or more businesses with complementary capacities and technologies or resources. So it's complementary, right? So then we form alliances in that sense. You know, you might be a sports clothing label, and then you partner with Nike, for example. There's complementary because they go hand in hand. What technology you have? You have FIFA right now that partner with Nike, and Nike partner with the people that make football. So you see the complementary capacities there. There's a company that makes football, that puts a tracker in the football that knows how far the football travels, how it's hit, and then send data. Then they give that data to Nike. Nike then creates a nice football. Then you play, and everybody is good. So there's a strategic alliances there. Why is FIFA forming a strategic alliances with Nike? Is because Nike is known for sports. Even though they do trainers and shoes and clothes and all of those other things, strategically, it makes sense to partner with them, right? In terms of sports in that regard. So that particular partnership is strategic, right? Then you look at joint ventures. Now, joint ventures are formal business agreements created by two or more companies to pursue a specific commercialization opportunity. So we go hand in hand to go and do something, right? You bring your resources, I bring my resources, and then we will then do that. There's been times where film production companies have come together to create a particular film or develop a particular film. Why? That's a joint venture, right? They come into an agreement to do something. Now, then you can look at your licensing agreements. Licensing agreements involves one company, right, granting another company the license and the rights to use or produce or sell its intellectual property, technology, or products. So again, you see KFC, for example, they then franchise their, what do you call it? Their brand and everything else. So they're in an agreement with you to say that, yeah, you can use my intellectual property to do what it is that you need to do, right? See, so then Pizza Hut does it very well. Pizza Hut and what do you call it, Pepsi have an agreement where Pizza Hut sells Pepsi in Pizza Hut. You never see Coca-Cola being sold, so they have a license agreement for that to happen, right? I give you my products, this is what you do, you align it with yours, and then you do that. See, so we do that together. See, I've licenses everything. I'm giving you the license for you to use my license and everything else for your own commercial gain in that sense. Then, you know, you can look at so many things from supply chain that can lead to, this thing actually leads to what do you call it, cost saving for you when you do the whole supply chain partnership side of things, right? So supply chain partnerships focuses on optimizing the supply chain process by collaborating with suppliers, manufacturers, logistic companies, and all of these other things. So you can form that. Then you have your distribution partnerships. Now, distribution partnerships here, right, is looking at ways in which distributors and retailers can expand the reach of a particular product. See, so if I know that I want to advertise, get my product to the market, but then I get, let's say, Unilever or whatever to distribute my product for me, I'm entering a distribution partnerships with them so that it gives me a better reach than what I currently have, right? And then types of partnerships that you can definitely have is also the research part. You come together on research and development, so R&D, research and development. So both entities come together and then make sure that they work together. Most times you enter into a research collaboration with universities, academia, research companies, all of those other people that are very research and data driven, you can then partner with them to do research in that sense. So when even with the type of partnerships, you can have investment partnerships, right? So this is where you come together to secure money, investment for you to then produce your product. So there's so many ways around getting these things done, right? You can do it on your own, but it will make sense if you do it with other people, but make sure the people that you're doing it have the capacity for them to be able to then work with you, both from a technological point of view, from a marketing point of view, from a supply chain point of view, from an integration point of view, and then from a financial point of view, right? So we look at the strategies here. One of the best ways to go about doing that is identifying potential partners, set clear objectives on what it is that you want to achieve and why, right? Accessing funds or whatever, what it is that you want to achieve and why. Then you do your research and due diligence on the potential people that you're trying to partner with. Then you formalize, your agreement. So you say, okay, I'm going to work with you. This is what you're going to do. And this is what I'm going to do. So it's contracts. So that's something that you have to think about. Then the cultural fit. You can't really partner with somebody that you and the person don't get along or share certain things in common, right? You have to ensure that you have a partnership, which is a cultural fit. They understand your product, you understand them, and it fits into the culture, because you don't want to go and give it to an organization that you don't agree with your culture, and it will create a problem. So then you also have to think on the long term, right? Consider long-term sustainability of the partnerships. What does that mean? Is I'm not only doing business with you today, I'm looking to doing business with you for the next 30 years, 40 years. So that would ensure or determine the kind of deals that you sign. Because if you want a long-term sustainable deal, partnership, then you have to think about the deal. But if you want a short-term one, then clearly you just want to do it right now, get your money and move out. So there's something that you have to think about. So summing up your strategic partnership framework, what are you trying to do? Define the desired outcomes. What are you trying to achieve here, right? Identify the partnership outcomes. What are the partnership outcomes? What are we trying to achieve as partners together? We need that. And then identify potential partners. Once you know what your outcome is going to be, you need to identify what your potential partners will be, right? And then define clearly the roles, right? And responsibility. So you do this, I do this, we do this together. You're responsible for this, you're responsible for that, I'm responsible for this, right? Set that clearly, because what you don't want is coming back and say, oh, I thought you were going to do it. We don't do that. You have to set it out clearly, and then establish and manage partnerships. Now, establish and manage are two different things. And so you need to have two different teams that will do that, because it requires two different ways of thinking. Establish in itself is to go out and get it, right? So you need a sales-driven team or a business development team that can go in there and get you the partnership. Managing the partnership otherwise, that is different. This is where you can be a partner with somebody for the next 20 years, 30 years, and they're still your partner. So you're managing that partnership. So you need your business development, you need your customer service, you need a partnership manager in your organization to do that, because they're dealing with your partners. They're managing that particular relationship, right? And then you need to move to the stage of assessing effectiveness of that partnership. What did you get from it? Was it commercially viable, as in return on investment? Did it make sense? If it did, you need to measure it, establish it, and then see how effective that would be. So these are the frameworks that you're going to use. Now, naturally, one of the last canvases that we'll talk about, and then we'll go to your questions and answers, will be this canvas. I know so many canvases, because businesses, the way business works, it works in different windows. So every single window is different in how you approach it, right? So this particular partnership canvas looks at 4 main triangles, okay? And then a whole triangle, but there's 4 main triangles. Your desired assets that you have, right? That you're trying to give to people, your value offer that you're going to give, right? And then the transfer activities, what you're going to do, and then the value that you're actually going to create. Okay, so this partnership canvas is a visual tool used to kind of facilitate discussions and planning around partnership between organizations or individuals. This will help you clarify the key elements and aspects of that potential partnership that you need to have, right? Allowing you stakeholders to align your objectives and expectations. So this particular canvas helps you to align your objectives and expectations, right? Once you use them the right way. So what does the right way mean? So let's start with desired value or desired assets in here, right? So your desired value here is basically it. You will use the definition of this element to screen candidates, with this is who I want to work with. Ideally, this is the person I want to work with, right? What value are you looking for from that particular partner? This is where, when you say, what do they bring to the table? This is what we mean, right? Desired value. So what is the value that you sought from that particular partner? In that sense, clearly put it down and say, I want to partner with this person, but because I'm looking for A, B, C, and D. They have expertise, they have technology, they have staff, they have knowledge, they have intellectual property, they have all of these. These are the values that you're trying to desire from that partner. Do not go to a partner because, everybody's going to them, so I'm going to them. No, you have to ensure that for it to be, for it to work, it has to complement each other, right? You have to gel with the person. You share the same values and everything else with the person before you then go and even talk to them, right? So that's one of the first triangles that you have to think about. Then the value offer. This is where we talk about you. What do you bring to the table, right? What value is offered to the partner? What are you offering to the partner? It could be, intellectual property. Again, it could be market knowledge. It could be local knowledge. It could be on ground, anything. What are you offering? 1 second. I'm just drinking water real quick. So, sorry. What do you offer? What value are you offering your partner? You have to list that yourself. You have to, this is where you do your SWOT analysis to then look at exactly what it is that you need to offer that particular partnership, because you're going to a partnership that you need to offer something to, right? So now, after you looked at your desired offer or value or what it is that you're looking at, and then the value that you offer, you bring that together, then you think to yourself, okay, so this is a transfer of activities, right? How would the partners, as in you and that person, value be connected and made to make it a mutual thing, right? How do you connect with the person? What kind of mechanisms do we have to put in place to ensure that the partners that are coming together actually connect, right? What are we going to do to ensure that our values connect and then it's mutually, beneficial, right? So where's the synergy between the partnering businesses in that sense? So your business model, their business model, how does that come together? Where is the synergy there? You have to find it and use it, right? And then the last but not least will be the created value. So the question here is, what would result, or let's say, what would the result be, right, once you guys come together? Okay, so what value are you creating when you and the person come together? So let's just say, for example, Apple decides to partner with Adobe, for example, right? So then they're saying that once you use the Apple phone, you'll be able to edit videos and do so many crazy things on Adobe or whatever, right? They've created a value for the end user. So the end user now does not need to go and buy, Apple. Does not need to go and buy Adobe software anymore because it's embedded as part of the software that comes with buying a MacBook or Mac Air, whatever the case may be. That is the value that they're creating. They're saving you money. They're ensuring that you're getting the right tools for you to do what it is that you have to do. So just remember that in partnership, you offer value, you take value, you come together, which is what then becomes a mutual beneficial thing. And out of that, you create value. So in this case, value offer, right, plus value desired, right, equals your transfer activities, which then would equal, the value that you create, right? Let me repeat it again. Value desired plus value offer in brackets plus transfer activities would equal created value. I know it sounds like a math class, but if you think about it like that, that's how you have to look at it, right? So with that said, I am open for any questions that you may and do have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josiah. Okay, Abdul has his hand raised. Abdul, you can go ahead, please.
Okay. Josiah, as amazing as you have always been, and I'm always delighted to be part of this training. And as I speak to you now, I'm not in a crowd, I'm in the front of the radio. I'm trying to ensure I listen to you. And I appreciate
Hi, Abdul. I think your background is a bit noisy.
Yes. I'm saying that I appreciate how do you call it, Josiah all the time. I'm out of town, but I find time to just listen to this presentation, and I think it's a very nice one. And I say thank you very much for what you're doing. My question this week, for instance, I'm not so good at managing my social media page, and I hired somebody to manage the social media page and the form of marketing my product and services. Is there anything, because there was one institution that I was in before I left to do my own business, and then they made somebody to a contractor, a consultant to do social media for me. And when the consultant was aggrieved about the work that was going on, he left the company, but he hacked the company's account. Does that thing happen? Or what caution should I take from it? Because I need somebody, I've gotten somebody already to start my social media page. Is there any, we already did the contract and those things already. Is there anything that I have to put in place to ensure that all information that goes in there, I have access to it? The person doesn't have so much access to it, so that I can manage those other things that's supposed to be. So next what comes to mind for me to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul, and I really appreciate you also, being outside of a crowd but still participating. I really appreciate that. Now, this particular question that you asked is not unusual. It happens, right? And it happens because we tend to partner or deal with a lot of unprofessional companies, right? Very, very unprofessional companies, or individuals that then work for us. And then when they leave, they take, they hack into your account or do whatever. So this is why you do not partner. And I'm going to say this for everybody to hear. And if what I say, you find it offensive, it's not meant to be offensive, right? I just need you to kind of analyze what it is that I'm saying, and then see the sense in it. This is why we do not partner with one-man band, right? One-man companies, one-man shows. You do not. Make sure you give your social media marketing, posting, branding, and everything else. If you want to outsource that, outsource it to companies that have infrastructure, companies that have policies, companies that you can sign contracts with, that if they end up breaking the contract, you can take them to court. These are companies that you can walk to their office and then cause wahala over there if they do that to your account. So you need to make sure that you're partnering with companies that are credible, right? Companies that are registered with Register General and all of these other organizations that you know that their track record says that they are a digital marketing company. Who have they worked with before and who are they currently working with now? Take what do you call it, references before you sign contracts and you give your social media marketing platform and everything to them. Do not deal with one-man bands because it's cheaper. Because what is cheaper today will cost you tomorrow. So I hope that answered your question, Abdul. Make sure that you partner with organizations that are credible, that is, you can sign NDAs with them, and it's part of your policies to behave in a good way. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, I think it's answered the question. But what I wanted to say is that there are some few individuals who are doing very well, and they are not organization. All right, they are startup who have gone to do this, and I've seen some of them doing some other things for other people, and it went well for them. So I was just asking that we can go along with those people just to ensure that people are also getting access to business. Because you can't go to maybe well-organized places, but individuals are doing what they have credibility, they have integrity, and they're also managing their own small way business for people. So such people, like we did a contracting, we have to sign contract with them and those sort of things. So I'll just ask, if it comes to an individual like this, who you think the person is credible because you gave the person some job, sometimes he did it. What are some of the terms and conditions should we go through, if you have any, to share with me so that I can be able to work out? Because I've seen a very good individual, a very young lady who is managing social media, and I feel like I have to support her business because my business has grown more than her. And I think I met her somewhere, and she's such an intelligent and smart person. And I feel like this person, let me also make an impact by getting her services so that I can also pay so that her business will grow. So such persons, what can I do to be able to ensure that I manage?
Yes, so you can sign contracts with them, ranging from content creation contracts, content management contracts, just all of those things, right? So managing your technology in terms of putting content and everything for your website or social media and everything else out. And then there's a contract that says that they can't hack into your account, and if they do, you sue them, etc. So send me an email and I will send you a template of such a contract that you can give to somebody like that, okay?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. I don't know whether I can put my email in the chat, or I think the last time you email, but I don't think I copied it.
Let me also put my email there, and then we just do it that way. I'll put my email there as well, but you can also put your email, and my team would send it to me as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Josiah. I'm grateful for your answer.
Any more questions? Don't be shy to ask questions, because ultimately, whilst I'm gone. If you ask the questions, I can answer them. I'm happy for you to reach out to me. The deck will be shared with you, but it would be better for you to ask questions, because chances are somebody's thinking something that you're thinking, but they don't ask it. But then if you ask the question, then we'll see whether we'll be able to help the person or not. So yeah.
Nee's hand is up. Nee, you can go ahead, please.
All right. Good afternoon, and thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was quite insightful. So to begin with, I know you're saying we should send you emails and stuff, but I think I've done that in previous sessions, and I also sent it up some time ago. But
yeah, you know what? Let's have a call tomorrow. Were you free tomorrow?
Yeah, I can make time tomorrow.
Yeah, let's have a call tomorrow afternoon around this time. I don't think I have a session. Around 1 o'clock tomorrow.
All right, no problem. We can do that. So I'd send you a message on WhatsApp or email.
And WhatsApp is better.
All right. No problem. And then I guess maybe we can discuss further on.
You can ask the question, because maybe somebody can learn from the question that you have.
All right, sure. My question is like, with what we are doing in my business, we are really huge on partnerships, but to be honest, we haven't been so much successful, because probably like we at the stage at which we are. So, but what we are trying to do is we've been trying to partner with big organizations or corporations whose missions are aligned with ours. So, for instance, people looking to organizations looking to uplift income levels of farmers, improve improve on their productivity, food security, stuff like that. The technology that we are building in my company basically does that, and our model actually could do that like on a grand scale. But we've approached a couple of organizations, international organizations that have operations here in Ghana, and it's been quite a challenge. And what I recently realized is that it's difficult to get access to the decision makers in organizations. Most of the staff people we get to talk to are probably like mid-level staff. And in as much as we explain things to them and they feel like it could work, it's hard for them to connect us to the decision makers in the organization. So I'm trying to understand how to go about it in this case. Do we send a proposal? Do we stalk the CEO? I mean, like, how do we like penetrate into that space? Like, how do we get access to begin the partnership discussions? Yeah.
So great questions, and I feel your pain. I really do. One of the best things to also do, this is what we talked about, the value, what you offer, what they have, and what you offer, right? Sometimes you can look at the smaller businesses that are just a little bit above you. It's easier to partner with them. And based on the work and leverage that you then create for yourself, the bigger organizations will reach out to you, right? That's in the ideal world, that's how it's supposed to happen. Now, your question about how do you then bypass these things? Yes, one of the best things to do is first engage the company and have a conversation with the mid-level managers first, right? Where does the company want to go? What does the company want to achieve? And all of those other things. What are they struggling with? And then after you then get that information, you create a proposal that answers their issues, their challenges. So you're offering a partnership that says that I know you're struggling with A, B, C, and D. If you partner with me, I'm able to then help you achieve that, right? So you're answering a need that they already want. So then you give the proposal to them. There is no guarantee that it's going to work because this is Ghana. Somebody will take your proposal and then go and give it to the head and then make it look like they're the ones that created it. I know it happens, but you have to submit a proposal in hope to get a second meeting. Now, the thing that you used about stalking the CEO, let's remove the word stalking out of it. Find out events or panels or programs that the CEO or the marketing director or whoever who is in a higher decision-making stage would be, right? Then get your proposal directly to them because you can attend those events, make sure you network and they see you, and then you hand it over to them. So then you're giving the thing directly to them. You can either give them a summary copy of it so that they just read it quickly and then understand what it is that you're doing and then call you back for a meeting. So you have to attack everything at all ends, right? Or you can find another partner who is a competitor to the person that you actually want to partner with and have a meeting with them. Once you have a meeting with them, get your social media people to literally take pictures, highlight a few of the discussions that you had with them, and then post that. But when you post that, tag the other organization that you actually want to work with in. Chances are it would work because vanity is the way in which businesses work. Why are they talking to our competitor and they're not talking to us? These are the strategies, some of the strategies that you can use. So you can approach talking to mid-level people, find out what challenges that they're having, right? And then answer those challenges through your proposal. Then create a proposal and go and give it to their, what they call it, high-level decision makers at events or wherever it is that you probably will meet them at. You do that. Even in Ghana right now, people can send, the proposal to the CEO. As long as it's addressed to the CEO, it will reach the CEO in that sense, right? Or have a meeting with your competitor and highlight it in order for them to see it. So there's so many strategies that you can use. There is no silver bullet approach. You just have to try whichever one works, and then you amplify it more. I hope that answered your question in some way, Lee.
Yeah, yes, please. It was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for answering that, asking that question. Other people can also learn.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Thank you, Lee. We had Roseanne, but I think she's gone off. Roseanne, are you here?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You
Yes,
can go ahead,
please. I'm
please.
here. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the presentation. I have a question on the partnership. I'm into piggery, and 2021, I was looking for a partner, and somebody came along. Just as the presenter made mention, I think I didn't do due diligence. I did not actually understand what partnership should be and all the other things that one need to consider before going into a partnership with somebody. So I just was overwhelmed with the farm, and I needed especially a manly a voice or energy into the farm. As at then, I had about 200 pigs on the farm. So this guy was so enthusiastic into the whole thing. We sat down. I just arbitrarily offered him that, okay, if any proceed come to the farm, you take 40% and I take 60. But my major problem is sourcing for the food. So if he could help me with the sourcing of the food and also supervising the manager on the farm. These are the two key things that were very difficult for me. And then he agreed, we talked, and we agreed, we opened an account together, and we're dropping some money every month in it for the running of the farm. That was from 2021 October. By 2022 March, he started showing this interest in the whole thing, because one of the things I told him was the supervision and the sourcing of the food. He was like, he's busy, and by the first day he said, well, right now I am busy, but by December I will drop some of the things I'm doing so that I can help you to source for food from other places, even outside this community. But after December, he rather took on many things, and he started not showing much commitment to our agreement. So to cut a long story short, by April, I lost my dad. So I told him, right now I'm going to go away for about a month. So I would like to hand over the management completely into his hands. For at least he should handle it for 3 months before I can also take over again. He agreed. I left the whole of May. I was away. I came back the last week of May. In June, when I got to the farm, the farm had deteriorated. The animals were looking lean and everything, and he was not coming because he just got some food, came, pre-mixed it, and told the farm manager, gave him some kind of measurement that he should give to every room, and it didn't work. The animals really deteriorated. So I phoned him and I told him that this is what is happening. So can you come over? Let's see what we can do. And he said, okay, but he never came. So I waited for like some time, and I saw that if I don't take action, it will deteriorate even more. I started taking action. I used to prepare blood meal and add to my food. He stopped all that and said, well, you're going to use soya bean, and yet he was not doing what he said he would do. Now the whole thing is, since then up till now, he has not showed up in the farm. About 2 months ago, I told him that I'm trying to close the farm because now I'm really, because already 2021, I told him I was looking for support because I'm not able to manage it alone. So he came in and he has left. So I'm at the same point again, very exhausted, and I just feel that I should close the farm. He said, okay, I can go ahead and close it. So up till now, he has not said anything. When he just said that I've met him personally. I ran into him at the credit union where we opened there. He said, oh, madam, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't come. I really wanted to come. And I said, well, I've been waiting. I've not seen you. As have you closed the farm? I said, well, I'm still on it, but gradually, I think I'm closing it up. He said, okay, no problem. In the account, we have some money there. Should I sign and you take it? And I said, no, let that money be there, because I don't know what he will be coming later to say, because he has already put some money in it for about 8 months. So right now that he is looking like he doesn't care, even if I close the farm or whatever, he's not asking me for anything. But I don't know, in the near future, if he should come back and say anything like he had put some money in my farm and he didn't get anything out, I don't know what I'm going to say, because right now I'm really at the verge of closing the farm. So I wanted to ask what I could do in this situation.
Okay, so it's rather unfortunate situation to find yourself in, but I always say that every problem has its silver lining to it, right? So every cloud has its own silver lining. And so in this situation, you have to then calculate all the money that you've put into the account, all the money that you spent to in your business, right? Against how much money he's put into the account, how much money he's also invested in the business, right? So you together, you look at how much you invested in it, how much he invested in it, and then, you know, look at the amount of money that you currently have in the account, right? If what you've invested in it is far greater than what he has invested in it, then obviously you can give him the balance back, right? Then you then sign a contract and then close the deal with him. You do not close the farm because you own the farm, you own the land, you own everything, right? You are just dissolving with him. So you're dissolving your partnership with him. So look at how much you've invested, how much he's invested, and then the amount of money that's in the account. If you can compensate him a little bit, don't compensate him all. Make sure the amount of money that you have in your account can compensate you for the amount of money you've invested in the business before you think about him, right? If it can, then that's fine. If it can't, dissolve the business and then use that money to pay for any other things that you need to pay for. Because I'm sure, judging from your voice, what you want to do is you want to just give him his money and then he will go and then you will be left with all the damaged goods. No, that's not how you do business. We don't do business leaving it to God. This got nothing to do with God. This is just a business deal that you form with the person. Sit down with the person and then say, you put in this, I put in that. It cost me to get the land, it cost me to get the animals, it cost me to go all of this. So if I calculate all my expenses against your expenses, which one is greater will determine how much money you get in the end. Does that make sense? You don't need...
Yeah, it does. The money in the account is just 2,000. It's not anything much. Just 2,000. I started farm since 2015.
Then cut
Since
your loss.
2015, I started a farm.
Right. So then cut your losses with him. Sever the contract and the partnership with him. Do not close your account and get a lawyer involved in doing that. So he will sign a contract that says that he's no longer part of the farm. He doesn't have any future interest in it, and he's happy to walk away. So get a lawyer that will help you to do that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So Claudia, your question is, how do you ensure that an organization that is higher than yours fulfills all the partnership agreements made for a national project that they approached you to be part of before you commence? Well, these cases, what you do is you can sign an NDA with the people, right? And sign an MOU as well. All forms of any other contract that you can sign with the person, clearly stating what it is that they are going to do by when. See, so a clear deliverables that probably get 30% of the money to be paid before this is done. If they do this, this is the end result. So make sure that you get a contract that clearly states out what is required to be done as and when, right? Because even though they are higher than you, they are still bound by a contract that you and them agree and sign on. So my only advice to you is make sure that you get a contract that clearly states what the roles are and who is responsible for what, and break it down into months. Because if you don't trust them, do not wait to the end of the year before you do auditing on them. Make sure that you do auditing in every 3 months and say, okay, in the first 3 months, you're supposed to achieve this, right? Have we achieved it? Before you can move on to the next milestone, Make your milestones in that way, and it's easier for you to measure it that way. Claudia, did that answer your question?
Okay, whilst we wait for her to respond, Dr. Arnold has his hand raised up. That'll be the last question and we'll be done.
Okay.
Dr. Arnold, you can go ahead, please.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon to everybody. Josiah, how are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. How are you? I'm
doing great. Yeah, I wanted to make some few more comments regarding Rosan's issue. I believe that it is about time that we started putting a lot of documentation before we even solidify partnership. The problem has to do with due diligence wasn't done at the early stages. Now, this is what I think. She owns the farm before the partner came into the scene. Let's quantify it. Let's quantify the investment that the partner brought. Now, we can be able to tell how much that business is worth. Now, identifying how much that business is worth, we can now put it in terms of percentages based on what she owns and what the partner brought. Then the amount that is in the corporate house we speak, the 2,000, which is very small anyway. That percentage that is identified, the 2,000 can be shared based on that particular percentage. Because you own the land, you have quite a number of, products on the line and all that. So you quantify it, how much money that you've added to it when the partnership deal was signed, or you agree with the partner, and how much the person came with. Then you can put it in percentage terms, divide the money based on percentage terms, and then everybody walks away. But I also agree that there should be a legal touch to this. So once you are able to tell how much the business is worth, how much the quantum of contribution from each partner, quantify it into percentage terms, apply the percentage terms on the remaining amount, and then everybody picks his or her share, and then they move out. And that should be done in the presence of a lawyer, that to prevent future issues. That's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold. Thank you, everybody. We would like to put on our camera shortly so that we can take a quick photo and then we'll be done. kindly put on your videos. Josiah, please, can you stop sharing your screen, please?
See, Doc, I see you got a whole team behind you, right? I really like the fact that you got a whole team behind you. Just
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The whole thing is behind us, you know.
Really good. I need to come up there. I need to come up north. We need to.
Sure. Especially African Cup.
Yes.
Hey, Dr. Mashu, I have to see you, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Latif, how are
Yes,
you?
bro. This is a long time.
Yeah. Sure. I'm doing well.
Vanessa, we can't hear you. We're taking a picture. Vanessa, I think you're muted.
Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, just give me a smile. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Let me see your teeth. Okay, thank you so much for joining. So on Thursday, Josiah will be taking us through fundraising for commercialization, funding for commercialization, sorry. So yeah, so we'll send you the link and an information that we require for you to be able to join. And thank you once again for joining, and have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Please, I put a question on the chat page concerning how do you call it, the presentation slides and that of the videos. I don't know whether it has been sent because I've not received any.
Oh yes, it will be shared, please. The recordings will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so we will share the link with you as soon as it's done.
Okay, but the slides, have you already shared it already, or you're
Not yet. We will share it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.